Is it going?
Yes.
Weird. Welcome to the Swine Brothers Show, episode 160 for September 14th, 2018. It didn't show it was live. That's why I thought it was weird. You can contact us at Cosmicgodsdie at gmail.com. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter is Swine Bros 666. I am your ever perplexed host, Elliot Linnewood. My two usual gang of idiots are.
I am the Jim, the seeing eye mutant.
And I'm Danamond, and I'm a government mandated girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yay.
you're the mandated female co-host. Before we start with the articles, I'd just like to run that down. After the show, wait till the show's over, people. Do not leave now. You will run to the store and buy 3 albums, or online if you're. The first album is Gravedigger's Night of the. The Living Dead. It's a great power metal, heavy metal album. You can check out their single, "The Power of Metal," on Napalm Records. The second album is Deicide's Overtures of Blasphemy, fantastic death metal from Florida, as you know from Deicide. And the third album is by Finnish legendary black metal band Archgoat, The Luciferian Crown. It's the band's fourth album, and it is perfect from Alpha to Omega. So buy those 3 albums now.
Oh, good. Good thing we started off with good music. You want to know why?
Why, Jim?
Because no child is safe from the sinister cult of emo.
Let me explain. I found this referenced on a TV Tropes article, I think today, and I had to look it up. It's 10 years old, but goddamn, how can we not?
Yeah, I know. It's great.
I'm pretty sure I lived through emo shit, and I wasn't even.
I was.
Sinister? Really?
I considered myself an emo kid in 2005 because I was 11, and it was the most heavy music that was available for me at the time. Unfortunately, of course, I soon grew out of that, which is funny. Mason tries to lecture me about like emo history. It's like, motherfucker, you were 5 and I was there.
And now my question is, what's the target demographic for this article? Because
Conservative
Concerned parents.
concerned parents. This is from the Daily Mail.
Hannah.
some stupid people. Gotcha.
Yeah. Hannah was a happy 13-year-old until she became an emo. Part of a sinister teenage craze that romanticizes death.
I want to romanticize death.
Man, I wish I could just figure out how to put the fucking eyeliner on right.
I want to fuck death. If she's a female, I will fuck repress.
Deadpool is already dating fucking death, okay? Well, trying to, but he can't die, so like he's having trouble going on dates.
Didn't Thanos want to fuck death? I mean, I vaguely recall that.
Didn't who?
Thanos.
Yeah, I think he did, and that's why he's pissed off at Deadpool and cursed him with immortality, so he could never.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never read.
I mean, it's weird comic book stuff. I mean, I don't really get it myself, but I mean.
Anyway.
My thought was that all emo does is romanticize crying.
Yes, all emo does is. I mean, I don't really have a problem with goth. It's not really my thing, but at least the real goths have some sort of substance. Although, of course, there's mall goths. When
also,
you're
real goths are actually more likely to kill themselves.
When you're a bad imitation of mall goth, you're not even an imitation of real goth. You're a bad imitation of fake goths. It's literally dumbed down.
Yeah, so terribly bad. Yes, got that.
And unfortunately, guys, just to add nightmare fuel, it's making a revival. Anyway, continue.
Oh.
Sorry. 3 months later, she hanged herself. That's a glorious cause and effect there. She got in the emo and then killed herself. How about
Anna hung
mentally
herself.
Unstable to begin with?
How long did this happen? How long did this take?
3 months, he said.
Yeah, but it's like you realize there's just a plethora of fucking dude. I was listening to like kitty shit and like.
No, I'm just saying you don't go from 0 to 60 with emo. Emo is a long-term thing.
No, it's not. Emo is
Yes, it
emo
is.
is a very.
I
Is
was
a,
emo. Okay, as a kid, I just couldn't do the fucking makeup right, so I ended up being that weird kid on the playground that nobody liked. All right, look, I listen to emo music. I understand where they're coming from here, but you do not go from listening to emo and then 3 months later killing yourself without there being some serious issues going
well,
on.
yeah, no.
And her
There's
parents should
mental
have seen.
illnesses. Actually,
I love the pictures they got for this chick. Because like the one where she's quote unquote normal before emo, she looks like she's blasted out of her mind on 18 million different forms of opiates.
She has a vacuous look to her, yes.
I think Jim will
And
agree
then
with
whenever
me.
she got into emo, she actually looks like she's sober.
She looks engaged.
I think Jim will agree that you can go from 0 to killing yourself in emo. It's called listening to good music and realizing how far your life has gone down.
Oh,
God!
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. She was first introduced to her first, like, really good.
I'm just saying that.
And just decided my life was wasted.
You can't blame emo for something that happened so quickly.
Well, this is a sensationalist news thing. That's why.
People don't decide to kill themselves on a whim. That's what I mean.
Oh, I just
do that all the time. It's
actually
history.
And not a day goes by and I'm decide, you know what, things to do today. Take out the trash. Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, after I take out the trash, because that way the stench is there and it reminds me of how much life sucks.
Seriously, you don't
I just did all my chores for the day. Yay! Time to eat a bullet.
Anyway, continue with the story.
Here, her devastated mother tells other parents no child is safe.
From emo.
On the night before she died, she came into their room, kissed her father, Raymond on the cheek, and told him, "I love you, Dad." The following day, Hannah's mother, Heather, went to check on her daughter and found her hanging by a tie from the top rail of her bunk bed. Hanging from the top bunk of your bunk bed. God, you gotta be short.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, but
it takes a lot of fucking effort to actually kill yourself. That's the point.
Yeah. She screamed for her husband to come, but try as he might, it was too late. There was simply nothing that he could do to save Hannah's life.
Everybody's dead, Dave.
I don't know. Maybe she stopped taking the happy pills you fed her to make her look that stoned on the left, and then couldn't comprehend how to deal with life after.
Okay.
I do want to point out there are some signs of people who might be depressed and suicidal that you can look out for, okay? One of which is that those people start giving away their items to other people. They're, I won't need this anymore, so you take it now. And that makes them happy, and that makes them, smile for once in the fucking however, who knows however long. And that makes them act like she did, and that
if we're being serious for one, I actually didn't want to be serious with this thing because I didn't think it was a serious thing to do. If we are being serious, then yes, blaming the music for a kid killing
I'm
themselves.
not blaming the music. I'm blaming the behavior.
It's an old thing. First it was Black Sabbath. Well, first it was like old rock and roll. Then it was Black Sabbath. Then it was
or D&D.
Dead Kennedys. Then it was rap and hip hop.
Look,
Then it was
anything that
it's not the music.
Anything that kids get into, video games, music,
it only exacerbates the mental illness they have.
Tabletop gaming, rolling D20, fucking
yeah.
And you go the whole way back down the line. They blamed pot for committing suicide. They've blamed.
But there's a point to this story, which is actually not about suicide.
In the underlying bleakness of the weeks that have followed, couple have fought to make sense of what happened. What on earth did their daughter, a popular, intelligent, and attractive girl, do such a thing? Why did she do it?
Well, they were clearly ignoring a shit ton of problems that she probably had.
Or maybe she was just bored and decided to go blow her brains out.
No one does that when they're in emo. Emo's all about emotional. That's what's called emo. Come on.
Emos
So
are...
there was probably a shit ton of signs long before she got
There were. There had to be.
And then the emo probably elongated her life for 3 months. Then finally,
but their parents didn't see that.
Yeah, her parents weren't going to see it because
they didn't know what to look for.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of mental problems. I'm literally not trying to be serious with this.
She was literally the fucking showpiece saying, look, we reproduced. Isn't that awesome? Now go somewhere and be quiet.
Exactly. And you know, a popular, intelligent girl, you know, oh, look how our perfect child. And the perfect child can have a lot of things bubbling beneath the surface. I mean, it's happened. How many honors students do you know who have killed themselves because?
Dude,
you know,
dude, okay. When I was in college, I was tested with a 152 IQ. That's fucking high.
That's goddamn.
You want to know the crazy shit that ran through my head whenever I was like 13 before I got into metal?
No, I don't.
Or even got back into fucking normal school and got bullied. Keep in mind, I was in a mental institution.
Yes.
First Western Psych for a few months. Then I went to Mayview for about 2 years. They threatened to throw me to Schumann Center, but Schumann Center is the juvie hall around here, and they couldn't do that because I wasn't court ordered to go. I actually signed myself in because I realized trying to kill myself was something's wrong.
Well, I was listening to a show with Jello Biafra on it from the 80s when he was in his censorship controversy, and someone said, you know, I think they should have rating systems for music because my mom's boyfriend's kids were killing animals after listening to Black Sabbath. You know, these are nice country kids, and Jello Biafra said, the more you try to mold people into nice country kids, the more there's going to be something boiling beneath the surface, and they're going to lash out at that. And how are they going to lash out? It's not the...
What you need to say there is the more you try to mold people.
Yeah, well,
not so much what you're molding them into, but the more you try to force somebody into a, you know...
Yes, but it's being specific for that situation.
I'm just saying, the more you try to put somebody into something that they don't want to be, the more they're likely to act out.
But anyway, yes.
They could find only one clue. Hannah was what is known as an emo. What? Like, there was no fucking baseball bat taken to her face. There was no being thrown into fucking lockers head first, having her head crammed in fucking dog shit.
She was
just the stress of trying to be the perfect child.
She was a nice, clean-cut kid.
That is a very good one there. Do you understand the pressures of trying to make your parents happy whenever they demand perfection?
Yes, right. I do understand the pressures, and that's why I went the complete opposite.
That is fucking, oh my god. I didn't go through it because I went to the loony bin and then my parents let me raise myself, which was like the fucking greatest thing for me to regain my sanity ever. God. Well, okay, at least be able to fake sanity, I should say.
Well, I mean, my parents let me get, taken in by
I did try
predator, but I mean...
But I had plenty of friends who were there, like fucking Jeff. He was always being pushed. You know, you got to do this. You got to join Boy Scouts. You got to fucking... You know,
oh God, yes, I was pressured to join the fucking Girl Scouts, and I was just like, why?
Gotta
I don't
be
even
perfect.
like the goddamn Girl Scouts.
Yeah, I was told things like that, but basically,
and you want to know what we started doing because of this pressure? Well, there was that time that he stole the Boy Scout money for all the fucking things they were selling, and we went out and bought.
Or we started doing,
And the best part of that story is that his parents came and said, okay, what the fuck happened to the money? I don't know. Well, someone stole it, and it was either you or Jimmy. Well, it wasn't me. All right, so I was banned from his house for something I didn't do that he did.
But yeah,
But we evolved from there to a shoplifting gang.
Yes.
Then we evolved again into a fucking druggie network. Like fucking shit. Oh my god, I did so much acid with Jeff.
So basically, I went the other way and became my own person. Anyway.
Yeah. You disregard what your parents want you to be. Some people cannot actually handle that, though. They see what their parents want them to be, and then they react like this kid did, and opt out, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to commit suicide because everyone was calling me a fucking fag because they found out about what the fuck happened when I was 7 years old. Whenever a guy said, "Hey, you want to play? We're going to play a game called Sucking Cock, and if you don't like it, I'm going to kill you and your family."
Yes.
So I'm sexually molested at age 7, getting called a huge faggot and all this other shit by the kids back then. And then, I'm certain I would probably still be suicidal today where everyone's a lot more, kosher with gays, but, they would be trying to say, well, it's okay to be gay. Well, but I'm not.
But
not to derail this conversation, but you know how the dank memers like to say that they are absolutely wanting to die and bullshit like that? I have yet to see them actually do so.
I'm waiting for them to blame internet memes for suicide.
Yeah, I am. I'm seriously waiting for that shit because
they
would.
They could only find one clue as to why their child committed suicide. Their child is what is known as an internet memer. Some describe it as a cult or sect, but in reality the term, derived from the word emotional, encapsulates a trend that is becoming hugely popular among Britain's school children.
Oh my god, if they've not learned, like, in the last, 30 years? I mean, emo's been around since I was a child.
Well,
emo's been around since I was a child.
Okay. Right? Emo in its first phase started in the late 80s or mid to late 80s with bands such as Embrace and Rites of Spring. And then mutated a little bit in the 90s where you had bands like Moss Icon and a couple others. But what they're talking about is what they're talking about here isn't even emo. It's actually pop emo. When you're the pop form of a pop form of a pop form of something, it's actually pop emo. That this whole sort of Hawthorne Heights dashboard confessional scene.
It's a derivative of the real thing.
Real emo, they can actually be decent musicians and actually make some good music. Jim probably will laugh me out of the building, but whatever. But this emo is
I might have listened to it.
It's not even. It's pop emo.
Hey, the shit they had on Vice City was okay.
Things like I don't know what they had on Vice City, but
it was like the proto phase mostly.
Oh, I'll have to look this up.
I listened to a lot of shit in the 1990s, so I can't exactly say I'm.
So it's.
It was like all set like 1984, 85, somewhere around there was the music.
Yeah, sort of like Embrace and Rites of Spring and that sort of scene. That's where emo comes from. Which was taking hardcore out of this whole, I guess, political stuff and making it more about emotions and how people experience. Which, whether or not that's good or bad, you can debate later. But so this is pop emo that they're even talking about.
A transatlantic import, its followers dress in black, favoring
transatlantic
t-shirt, studded belts, and sneakers or skate shoes.
They're totally blaming America for this shit.
You gotta blame America for this shit, because oh my god, fucking even god.
That's nice. I like that.
They sound like most the way they're describing their dress sense could be any punk metalhead or goth or
anybody in the goddamn world, no matter what they do or where they get off the fucking bus.
Death metal head rapper, fucking
that was anybody. That was the most generic description ever.
Fan.
Yes.
Hair is all important, often dyed black and straightened. It is worn in a long fringe brushed to one side of the face.
Which is why I could never be emo.
Not always.
Now, my hair was way too curly to be emo. According to that, anyway.
I never went for the thing. The whole dressing.
Music also plays a critical role.
Here we go.
And music is the defining thing of what emo is, because it's a genre of music. You fucking cretins.
Well,
anyway, I don't expect them to be intelligent. I just
this type of emo. This type of emo.
Emo's like guitar-based rock with emotional lyrics.
Yes.
That was the most. I love how old-fashioned this is. This is written in 2008, right? 50, 60 years of rock, guitar-based rock. I love how old-fashioned the Daily Mail.
Also,
your band name.
Elvis Presley sang about emotions.
Well, he wasn't emotional. He just ripped off everyone.
I know.
Ripping off people left and right.
Yeah, I know, but still.
And I'm getting really fat.
We got to blame Elvis again. Come on, we got to do it again, because that's exactly what you're doing.
No, Elvis absolutely meant for people to be emotionally affected by his music, because he wanted those people who were sexually attracted to him to feel emotional about their sexual attraction and make it happen.
Emotional based lyrics, so the Beatles and bands like that. Anyway.
American bands such as My Chemical Romance, Good Charlotte, and Blink-182 are particular favorites. Right there's why she committed suicide. Dear God, that music sucks! Listen to Slayer, kids.
I told you, this is pop emo. This isn't even like real, like, granted, even the real emo isn't my thing most of the time, but this is pop emo. I love it. This isn't even emo. This is. When did Blink-182 get emo anyway?
No doubt many adults would ask, so what? And you're forgetting the rest of that quote. The music of my generation was blamed for suicides, fucking murder, fucking gang activity, fucking everything evil under the sun. And I grew up just fine. Why the fuck are you doing this? But no, they just stopped at, so what? Like we're supposed to just agree.
Well, yeah, because it's the Daily Mail. They're not going to make something that says, "Don't worry, there's nothing to fear." The Daily Mail, their modus operandi is house prices, fear, house prices, fear, house prices, fear.
On the surface, it all sounds typically teenage, angst-ridden, overly dramatic, and tribal. Well. Yeah.
Tribal? Wait.
But
tribal?
It's not really tribal.
Yeah, they're actually calling emo music tribal.
Wait, tribal. Emos are listening to
emo
Soulfly now?
Behavior, excuse me. They're calling emo behavior tribal.
I mean, granted, those early Soulfly records make me want to kill myself, but they've actually improved amazingly over time, but still. Jump the fuck up. All right, I'm done.
No different, in fact, to the goth subculture that first emerged in Britain during the early 1980s. So are you going to try to win the goths over to this argument?
Nope. Well, maybe.
I'll tell you what, actually,
blamed for suicide themselves.
No, we haven't even gotten into the argument. It gets so much better.
If you look at the actual Wikipedia articles for bands like My Chemical Romance, they reject that emo label, I guess, of the stigma and everything. And they were part of the whole emo thing.
This
but
article
nowadays they say, you know what? In the early 2000s, it's just like, no, that is not what happened.
Well, because being labeled emo was automatically saying this band sucks.
I can guarantee you, though, half the shit that's on this list, I probably.
It's not because anything like this. It's because people like Elliot and I said, emo just equates suck. There might be like one band that's okay, but the rest suck.
I like my mic on.
When I was a teenager, I was reading poetry, which is pretty emo in of itself.
But anyway, we haven't even got to the meat of this article. We need to.
What? Where the chick kills herself?
No, that's not even not even the point of this article.
There is, though, growing concern that there is a deeply unhealthy undertone to the emo movement. Oh, God.
This
Sometime
is a
before
Daily Mail. I can't take this seriously. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, that you're not supposed to.
sometime before her death, Hannah's parents, who live in Kent, noticed scarring on the inside of her wrist and did nothing.
Oh, but it was so fucking surprising that she killed herself. What the shit?
Noticed scarring on the inside of her wrists, and we did nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm
No,
gonna
no, no,
punch
it,
her
it
parents
gets
right now.
it gets better, guys. Come on.
Shortly after I was molested, my parents noticed scarring on my wrists. You want to know what they did? They took me to the outpatient program of Westmoreland Comprehensive Counseling Center. That's right. They actually took me straight to fucking psychiatric care because they noticed their 7-year-old kid had marks on his wrists. They gotten even my slimeball father, who I do nothing but condemn on this show, actually showed an modicum of humanity and was for getting me psychiatric treatment because I was getting suicidal.
Yeah,
So if someone that slimeball doesn't care about anything and shit would do it, what does that say about these parents who did nothing?
They just didn't see it. And yet they complained that nothing could have been done.
yeah.
When they questioned her about it, honest and open as ever, she told them that she'd inflicted the wounds on herself and that it was part of an emo initiation ceremony.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yep.
Only after her death would they discover how she secretly chatted online to emo followers all over the world talking about death of the Black Parade, a place where they go after they die.
It's an album, you fucking stupid. That's you guys were all making a big deal about the suicide thing, and I'm like, no, you haven't even got to
I firmly don't believe that anybody should try to.
You haven't even got to the point of this article yet. Shut up.
Sorry, I'm a fucking human being.
I'm not a human being. No, but that's the whole point of this. Just read that again, Jim, about the Black Parade here.
No, I get the point. It is absolutely stupid.
No. Just for our viewers.
Only after her death would they discover how she had secretly chatted online to emo followers all over the world talking about death and of the Black Parade, a place where emos go after they die.
Oh my God. This is the most ignorant thing I've had. This is Weekly World News level, people.
No, this absolutely makes it not necessarily that person's fault.
No.
I think the people who are involved in that goddamn forum.
Even Weekly World News would have done at least an ounce of vigilance, due diligence, and said, and that's the name of an album. At least they would have added that, which is why there was an album named after that. That way they're like, oh.
I just love. I mean,
oh my God! I swear to God. Okay, listen. I sing to my kids, the worms go in, the worms go out. That song,
Yeah.
I actually sang them the whole fucking song, and they were like, "What?"
Yeah,
and
they accused of that song.
Yeah, it's a Dance Macabre song, though. Hey, my kids liked it. They were fine with it. They understand that when you die, you get eaten by worms.
Yeah. Let's see if the bad journalism continues here.
A check of Hannah's homepage. A check of Hannah's homepage on social networking site Bebo revealed her pseudonym, Living Disaster. I know a girl that actually wants me to reference her as such in my book because she didn't want her name used.
Wasn't that the title of a 311 song or something?
And that's because we keep going through these phases where we get back together and then not. So
yeah.
And that she decorated it with a picture of an emo girl with bloody wrists. Yay.
And her parents knew nothing.
It's not even the cool kind of bloody wrist. It's not the ritual mutilation that they're referring to. That one's fun, actually.
It's not carving the word Slayer into your wrist saying, yeah, fucking Slayer.
Hmm.
And then, like Slayer said, that's pretty damn cool. And put it on their album cover.
Yeah, it's because I remember, when black metal music starts up, I knew one guy who just started carving. I mean, he didn't do it because he was sad. He did it because he entered another world.
Mm-hmm. The pain and loss of blood mixed together. Yeah.
With black metal, yes.
Yeah, totally. Pain can send you into a whole different other existence. That's absolutely why I did it when I was a teenager.
Another picture showed a child's exercise book scrawled with the words, "Dear Diary, today I give up."
Oh boy, that's literally how many statuses have I written like I give up. Of course I have to find out something to give up, but I give up.
Yeah, Elliot's kind of a pussy when it comes to that.
While Hannah's wrist injuries may have been slight, the issue of self-harm among adolescents is causing growing concern in British schools.
Damn right it should.
And just let them cut.
Also, you realize that self-harm has existed since way back.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if it
way
is
back
a big
in my
thing now,
mother's day,
it'll
way
be
back
a
in my
big thing.
grandmother's day.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
The more people that know what happens, the better off it is.
No, actually, if more people make a big deal out of it, it's going to make kids do it more because it gives them the attention they
No.
Yep.
There are two different ways to hurt yourself, all right? Some people cut themselves because they want the attention. And then you have me, who was of the distinct separate kind, who cut themselves because they were in such emotional pain that they couldn't fucking handle all the fucking shit that was going on around them. And so they cut themselves because physical pain is way more easy to handle than all the bullshit going around you.
Yeah, it's
and then you feel okay about things because you're bleeding. And
here
you're
they
in pain.
Here they
And
did a
you're
little bit of due diligence. They have a picture of My Chemical Romance, and it says that they made it to #1 in the UK chart with "Welcome to the Black Parade" in 2006 October.
Yeah, but I bet they're gonna turn that into like and that's a reference to the place where emos come.
The Black Parade is the place where all emos believe they go when they die.
That's a generalization that means
Actually, I'll tell you where all emos go when they die. They go to my particular kind of hell where they're just set on fire constantly.
No. What they do is they go to the interdimensional toilet where everything shits on them constantly.
Yes. To me,
it gives them a reason to cry and woe. Oh my god, more shit's coming in. Look up. Oh my god, it's diarrhea with corn.
Yes, they go live inside porcelain forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, jackass.
New figures show that a number of children admitted to hospital due to injuries inflicted on themselves has risen by a third in 5 years. It can't be societal problems. It can't be fucking, on mental health going undiagnosed. It has
but remember when kids were injured for cool things like trying to jump a skateboard over a car, or trying to jump a motorcycle, or trying to jump a bicycle over a bus,
or falling out of the back of a truck because they were riding in it without a back seat.
Yeah, that cool injuries. Now it's like I cut myself. It's like,
well, you see, that's another hypothesis I've had over why people are doing all this stupid shit that hurt themselves, and eating Tide Pods and shit. It's because we've taken away all the fun ways to injure yourself.
Okay.
Literally, I mean, I used to ride bicycles down a fucking sliding board, and it was like, yeah, okay. So I went down the slide and on a fucking bicycle. I fucking would jam off, any kind of trick I could do, and the thing was not designed for tricks at all.
No, of course.
Yes, I sustained injuries jumping from, standing there, jumping from the giant fucking wall that was outside the school onto
Yeah,
the
exactly.
ground. into
I
the
know guys who would see Evil
But
Knievel.
like kids can't do that anymore.
No, I want to point
They're
out
gonna
this.
do
Okay,
other things to push the boundaries, so they fucking slit their wrists and eat Tide Pods.
my stupid ass girl. I swear to God, I don't even know where she gets this. Okay, my stupid ass girl has fallen on her face twice. Once she busted both sides of her nose and bled. I shit you not, through 3 actual rooms of our house. She left a blood trail through 3 rooms of our house. It looked like there was a goddamn murder going on, okay? The second time, she fell on a goddamn fucking pencil and busted her eye up. So now she has a black eye, and I'm all like, "What the fuck? What did you do?" She literally, she pushed a pencil into her eye when she fell on it. That pushed into the bottom, then jumped up to the top over the eyelid, and then jumped up over the other part of her eyelid. And I was like, "Oh my god, you fucking idiot! What the hell?"
But that's the thing
I swear,
that Jim was saying.
he makes me look like I'm an abusive parent.
I knew people who, would watch old Evil Knievel videos and I'm going to jump my bicycle over this. Ow! But they had fun. They had fun.
My kid does that on her own.
They
I
grew
don't
up into
actually,
well-adjusted people.
Yeah, if you don't let kids be kids, guess what? They're going to get mighty depressed and.
Oh, I know. That's why I don't hold it against Brandon when she does that bullshit. But it's like, oh, how did you hurt yourself this time? Oh God, please don't.
So parents, teach your kids about Evil Knievel.
She bleeds so good. She's a good bleeder. She's a good bleeder. I'll give that to her.
In 2002, 2003, there were 11,891 such admissions. In 2006, 2007, this had risen to 15,955.
Okay.
In both periods, there were more than 3 times as many admissions of girls as boys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Is that because the boys died?
No, because girls are more likely to cut themselves.
Oh, it's probably because the girls, show it more than the guys. Because I'm not fucking emo faggot, but I am.
No, it's because 1, girls are more likely to be sexually abused. 2, girls are more likely to be regularly abused. 3, girls are more likely to hurt themselves. And 4, boys are encouraged not to report shit.
I knew a lot of emo kids who were guys.
I do want to point out that, like, statistically, girls get admitted more for attempted suicide.
And boys are more likely to actually follow through, yes.
Yeah. Boys are more likely to complete it. You're gone. You're dead.
Absolutely, yes. Men are more likely to actually complete suicide.
Oh, well, I never did.
Good for you.
I
was too cowardly to actually commit suicide.
There are some times I regret that, but hey,
No, I honestly, I couldn't do it.
Especially one of these, like, whenever we do, like, one of these really long stories on Swine Brothers, it's like, damn it, you should just kill yourself while you had the chance. You
I think you lost that option when you listened to the Elliot.
What's that, Jim?
Rogers manifesto.
Crucially, those who self-harm are more likely to go on to attempt suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there
hasn't changed in like thousands of years.
While there is a multitude of reasons for this epidemic, exam-related stress and bullying to name but 2.
We're going to blame it on emo.
It is hardly surprising that the emergence of a subculture that appears to glamorize self-harm and even suicide is being regarded with alarm.
That's the Daily Mail. They like to blame Americans and they like to blame rock.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I don't know how many emo bands were Christian at the time, but there were a lot of Christian emo bands.
Yeah.
Screaming for Jesus.
Inevitably, criticisms of emo culture are laughed off by those who consider themselves to be at the heart of it. I'm nowhere near the heart of it. I call it shit, and I'm laughing it off.
I was a poser for about 6 months, but even I wasn't even near the heart of it, but I call it shit. It was just, a bunch of kids crying about their breakups and cutting themselves.
It's just a music thing, they say, and anyone who takes it further has something inherently wrong with them. Well, yeah.
Which is why we know we have things inherently wrong with each other, with ourselves when we read death metal lyrics and go, huh.
Keep reading, Jim.
If you listen to the lyrics, you will see there is nothing that promotes suicide, and even if there was,
right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have bands who promote suicide actively.
Yeah. And then, even if there was, no right-minded person would listen to it and think, now I'm going to kill myself.
Yes, because if you do listen to it and think you're going to kill yourself, God, you're a fucking moron. You should just kill yourself. Yeah. Oh, shit.
Listen, by all means, I am not blaming this music. I am not blaming emo whatsoever.
I'll blame emo for having people kill themselves. I mean,
dude,
if I have to be subjected to a My Chemical Romance song, I'll pull the fucking.
Oh God, there was that one guy that recently just ran in and shot up a video game competition. Because
Hell for Elliot is listening to Black Veil Brides all day long.
I mean, this guy shot up a video game competition because he was part of the competition and lost at John Madden football. So we should ban football-based video games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, he did kill himself at the end of it, so that's suicide and homicide because he killed people.
Clearly, there's something wrong, but it's not the rest of society. It's just him being.
Wait a minute! I don't even think he killed
it must have been all the video games he played. Oh my God!
And then I said, "Kill yourself."
Wait a minute! I don't even think that bastard even killed anyone. I gotta double check.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Okay. Oh, damn. That would have been fucking even more hilarious. I didn't kill anyone except myself.
No, he killed like a couple people. Anyway.
Now, look, I know you guys like to argue that music doesn't hurt anybody, because it doesn't. I understand that. But the issue here is, though, this person was so ensconced in their fantasy life, which included the music they were listening to, that they decided to end their actual physical life to permanently be in the physical life, or fantasy life, I should say, that they actually thought they had.
There really is no issue here. This is actually just tying up a bunch of unrelated events into a sensationalist article.
This
that was supposed to be the
problem.
That was supposed to be the point of this, was to just laugh at it, not to.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We're going to do that anyway.
No, I don't take suicide laughingly. I'm sorry.
I think suicide's hilarious.
Not to me, man. I've been there. I'm sorry.
I've been there, and I point.
This chick decided she wanted to commit suicide because real life was not as cool as her fictional fantasy life. That's bad.
Well, hey, one less emo. Am I right?
Yep. That's the bright side of all this. I don't think anyone can say that there's a link between emo and suicide. It's just a myth. Emo has become an easy target for ridicule like this, but bottom line is emotional does not mean suicide. Yes, because emotion can be pissed off.
Emotion can be happy. Emotion can be sad. There's a lot of emotions in life.
Yeah.
My greatest emotion is apathy.
Yes, that's a good emotion.
Which is why I can sit here and laugh at people's suicides. Even though my friend did it and it sucked. But yeah, I still make fun of him because...
That is true, of course, but as any parent will tell you, adolescent children can be highly irrational. Well, that's why you gotta let them get slapped around by life so they learn the hard way. Yep. Oh, wait, we can't do that anymore because CYS will take the kids away if you let them make mistakes.
Wait, so if an adolescent child commits suicide, it's totally not the parents' fault because they're highly irrational.
Part of the reason why I found this is because I love the 80s scare propaganda in 2008. replace this with Ozzy or Black Sabbath or Dead Kennedys or Iron Maiden or fuck, even Prince was a target back then. Yes, they actually said Prince made people kill themselves, which I agree. I mean, I've heard Prince before and I wanted to die, but of course I didn't have to because now he's dead.
They're also easily influenced and may be ill-equipped to deal with powerful emotions that can be magnified by a sense of membership to a subgroup that revels in self-pity. Oh, like the internet warriors of today.
Like incels.
Everything. You know, incels, the hashtag warriors, the fucking, any of these groups. Come on.
Whereas the people I hung out with were like, by the way, this is stupid because jail time is a thing. Oh, okay.
Is it? Are you sure you want this, Jim? If you kick him a couple more times, it'll be attempted murder. Oh, right. Prison exists.
Honest to God, this is a story about a woman who doesn't understand why her daughter decided to kill herself. Keep reading, Jim.
It's actually a sensationalistic.
It is something that Lorraine Harrison is all too aware of. She has 3 daughters, the youngest of whom is 11-year-old Levi, a girl who classes herself as emo.
There we go.
Recently, Levi asked her mother, just why do people kill themselves?
Which is actually a valid question to ask if you're a kid learning about things. Because when I was a kid, I wondered why people killed themselves because I couldn't understand, what makes people do it. Because I thought life was so beautiful. Would you rather
come to the decision on your own?
Because I was 6 or 7, 8 years old, and even 11, I thought, life is wonderful. No one has any. And then I read about depression. I read about things, and it's like I read about people being bored and saying, I've lived enough anyway. So, I've done a lot, research into that. So that's actually not really a morbid question. That's literally just something I asked.
That's something. That's a kid being a kid. So how does the parent react?
Wait, really quick. I mean, back in the day, why do people have race wars? Why do people have riots? Why do people hate other people because of their color of their skin? Why do wars happen? Why, asking a lot of questions that people would consider morbid, which, but it was just how I grew up.
I asked, when's the earth going to crash into the sun?
Not for millions of years, sadly.
Yeah, but these are things that are on a kid's mind because
exactly.
You hear something on a fucking, documentary or you read something in school and it triggers these questions like, I don't understand why this happened. Why did that happen?
Well, yeah, like Martin Luther King, I remember when I was a kid.
And you don't have the awareness to realize some people get really scared and uncomfortable answering these questions.
Well, even when I was a kid, Martin Luther King, I was, why did people hate him so much? Why were there race riots? And people were like, I think he's like a potential Nazi, when actually all I was asking was, well, why did people hate other people based on, superficial things like that? I hate people based on who they are.
Yeah.
But people thought I was an, aspiring Nazi. Of course, the Hermann Göring quote on my Facebook confirms people's suspicions.
Yes. It applies across political spectrums. However, because of who said it, now you're a Nazi.
Yes, right, yeah.
I mean, it's great wisdom because anyone of any political alliance can go that corrupt as he's saying.
Yes.
But because of who said it, you're a Nazi. Yep. Not what it contains, who said it.
Yep. Welcome to 2018.
When she asked me that, it made me shudder, says Lorraine, 46. I managed to keep calm and explain to her that people's minds are very disturbed. That doesn't explain anything.
That doesn't explain anything because there was a guy named Peter Gregg, race car driver, who decided one day, literally, according to a suicide note, I've done a lot and I've lived a long time and I've, lived about as much as I want to live. And then he blew his brains out. He was happy.
And often they don't really want to die, but inside I felt sick with worry that Levi is thinking about such things.
Sometimes
It's a
they do.
typical child question.
Yeah.
You're overreacting to a typical child question that's been asked since the dawn of fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
It's more pertinent in the fact that this person's sister actually committed suicide, so
No, not related. Not related to each other.
their other sibling wants to know what the hell's going on.
No, no. This is a different.
They're not related. This is a different family. Because you got to survey the public and show people how fucking much you should panic.
Yeah.
From being the sort of girl who dressed in pink and played with Barbie dolls, now Levi wears only black. Aww.
Well, people change. People stop pissing in their pants.
I used to let my parents dress me the whole way up until the point where I got in the middle. That's when I actually defined my own style of clothing I wanted to get. I mean, up until then, I didn't care. There was nothing I wanted to look like. Then I found something that I wanted to look like.
And now you look like a failed lab experiment.
Indeed, and that's awesome. I like being the mutant. Oh my god!
What is that thing and why isn't it dead?
Exactly. Her favorite t-shirt is patterned with skulls.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Everyone has that now.
That's hanging up on my wall right beside me, about 7 or 8 of them. So, and she spends hours in her room listening to music by My Chemical Romance. Well, that'll drive her to suicide not because they sing about suicide, but because they suck. Peter Slayer, she'll get better.
I spend hours in my room. I spend most of the day in my room, except for I come out to eat sometimes. Once I go to a race, I'm in here, listening to music or doing this show. And actually, while I'm doing the show, guess what I'm doing? Listening to music.
And sometimes, I'm just going to put this out there. This might be unpopular opinion or whatever. But sometimes you have to let people listen to shit music in order to understand they're not going to be able to listen to that shit music for the rest of their lives. That's where I was.
Yeah,
I got better.
Sometimes you go through the phase, and then it's like, oh, that was shit. This is so much better.
Well, yeah, that's life.
Their lyrics seem to be associated with depression and self-harm, and I feel shocked when I listen to them. Well, I'm guessing shock is the intended response.
If you feel shocked, you
to think about things a little bit.
Please don't listen to the mentors.
Don't listen to us.
So when were you raped? 1976. Why? Well, I was gonna say you look kind of familiar.
Yep. Levi seems to have gone from being a lively girl who enjoyed having friends around to someone who has become quite introverted.
I never enjoy. I mean,
it can't be because she discovered that her friends are shallow, vapid people that only cling on to whatever is popular to give them some sort of sense of identity instead.
Well, no, because she's clinging on to whatever's popular. So no.
I know, but still,
Well, that was for me. People were like, "Why aren't you making any friends? You used to have friends," and I'm like, "Because I discovered that when I changed and decided I didn't want to run with the crowd and the trends and like whatever that was on TV, my friends called me weirdo. So I decided I'd rather watch IndyCar racing than fucking deal with that."
When the topic of suicide was raised, Lorraine became so concerned that she telephoned Levi's father, David, from whom she separated.
It's a natural question. Why do people kill each other? Why do people kill themselves?
Let's assume for 1 second that she was asking this with intent to do it. From right here, she's separated from the father. I've known people who attempted. I was in a mental institution with other people who attempted suicide because their parents split. It causes a little bit of a traumatic shift that the family unit is broken.
Yep.
So,
especially if you're like 11 or 12, like eventually, if your brain works, you'll learn that people divorce and whatever.
Yeah, once you get older, you realize, yeah, this is something that just happens. But whenever you're a kid,
Oh
a
my
lot of these
god!
people's concerns were like, was I the cause of it?
Yes, and
And
of
that's why
course
they want to end their lives so that way they could die and their parents could get back together and be happy.
that was my old joke. Was that if my parents ever divorced, it was like, was I the cause of it? Oh yeah, of course I was. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh my God, you gave birth to a blind one. Fuck you. You're a
No,
defective womb.
he's not just he's not just blind. What's he talking about? Death and mutilation and wanting to kill people for no reason, setting people in restaurants on fire.
You gave birth to the fucking Rosemary's Child. How dare you? He reminded me that I used to be a rebel too. I was a punk rocker for a while, and he reassured me it was probably just a phase that Levi would grow out of, more than
You were a
likely.
punk rocker for a while. I hate those. Oh yeah, punk. I was punk for about like I was talking to someone who wanted to relate to me when I was, recently actually, which is weird because I'm 24, and he's like, I used to be a punker for like 6 months. I'm like, really? I'm going on 10 years now, and there's no sign of stopping because I actually listen to the music rather than just want to, oh look, I'm so cool because I listen to the Ramones.
But I don't feel like the punk rock. I don't feel like it is like the punk rock movement.
Really, I knew plenty of punks who killed themselves.
Oh, so what the fuck? This is why posers should die. Because you don't see the correlation. Oh my God, punks causing kids to form criminal gangs and
Yes.
fucking kill themselves and all this shit.
Oh yeah,
Oh
you,
my God,
you
emo's doing the same shit. You're not realizing it's a trend that flows through history.
punk rock causes kids to kill themselves, criminal gangs, take drugs, drop out of school, teenage pregnancy. It's if you listen to Jello Biafra spoken word albums from the 80s and 90s,
I mean,
you hear the same thing.
you do realize that back whenever the Bible was first translated into different languages like English, that was seen as a tool of Satan to, make the word less potent by dumbing it down so anyone can understand it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, we
And I'm
must keep
certain
this from
that
the peasants.
and I'm certain that if any written records existed, there would be people back whenever writing was first invented that the storytellers would have been saying, dear God, that's going to make people stupid. It's going to rip the thoughts straight out of their head. And they're going to, look at this reading instead of having the mighty mind that remembers all the
Well, okay,
tradition.
let's go forward several millennia to something more relatable. The hippies, right? The hippies were told by their World War II parents that, you guys are out of fucking control. And the hippies said, no, man, we're just kids. Generation later, the hippies to the punks. You kids are out of fucking control. The punks. No, man, we're just kids. Nowadays, the punks, I mean, granted, most punk parents are disgusted with the emo scene. It's like, really? You're going to follow that? Fuck, I was cool as a kid. You're not. I listened to G.G. Allen.
That was about a zest for living and seeing life from a different angle. Different angles, such as strangling people that
Wait,
came
yeah,
on stage and using their screams as you were trying to kill them as part of your song,
live a
then
life in
stopping in the middle of
suicide.
everything just to eat your own shit off the stage. Literally, you took a shit on the stage and decided to eat it.
Wait. Punk is about
That
a zest for life. Negative trend, flipper, no trend. I saw an interview with the guy from No Trend, which was a band that sounded very slow, and literally the interviewer was asked by the guy from No Trend, "Do you hate this person? Oh, do you hate this person? Do you hate this person? And later on, he killed himself because as his suicide note says, I saw things too clearly. So
Mhm.
and by the way, they're part of the punk scene, the hardcore punk scene. But this is a zest for life. Live a life in suicide was a song by Negative Trend. G.G. Allen, of course, as you were mentioning.
Mhm.
Just There were two types of punks. There were the utopian punks and the chaos ones.
We didn't harp on miserably about dying.
Live a life in suicide.
You were such a service level peon. You'd know nothing. Efforts to snap Levi out of her emo torpor have met so far with little success.
And if you want to talk about, Britpunk, Discharge. Okay, granted, it was mostly talking about nuclear radiation or whatever, but all they did was natter on about how nuclear radiation will kill babies, which was awesome. But I mean, still.
Before Christmas, Lorraine bought her daughter a wardrobe of brightly colored designer clothes and jeans. You're going to drive her to suicide then.
And you claim to be a punk? Seriously? Fuck off. Fuck off, poser.
But they have barely been worn. Yeah, probably only whenever mom forces her to do it. Just like every child loves having their parents force them to do shit.
I love this because I used to be a punk rocker. Now I'm acting like the exact thing I rebelled against. But then again, knowing her, punk was probably Devo and Duran Duran.
She has banned Levi from dyeing her hair black, but is worried about clamping down further in case it causes further rebellion. I know the damage is beyond done with everything you've done. Wear these brightly colored clothes and don't dye your hair.
I knew
Fuck you, Mom. I'm going to go out and fucking do heroin.
Yeah, right. I knew punks. There are some lifers, in the punk scene, and they always said, it's all well and good to fucking, be a punk when you're 24 and, fucking, when you have kids, you have to be sure not to, yeah, okay, you want them to listen to you and all that, but you have to be sure to, not abandon your philosophy and let them explore life, even if it means they get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
even if it means if they get into shit you disagree with.
Even if it means, yes, and debate people. I mean, debate your kids if they get into things. Why are you an emo? Why do you like this type of scene?
You can ask them questions and be informed on this shit and see things from their angle.
That's, I mean, a lot of people, well, yeah, with their kids, they won't answer. It's like part of the reason why I didn't answer when I was a kid is because nobody asked me the questions I wanted to answer. Like, why do you do this? What is it that you like about this thing? It was always, are you on drugs? Those kind of questions. It wasn't intelligent questions. All I could answer those.
My questions from my parents were, Jimmy, did you steal my pot?
No.
By the way, I scored a dime bag. You want some?
Well, it was always funny because I remember Puke had a story. He used to come home drunk to his parents and let me smell your breath. So he discovered pot, and it was like, oh, good, you're not drunk and there's no puke. What do you have on your arms? 3 bags of Oreos. I'm going to my room.
To me, emos skateboard a lot. Wow.
Everyone skateboards a lot, sadly. Even 10-year-old Elliot Rodger, because
I skipped something because I was too busy talking. I think many of the concerns around emos aren't true. She says, to me, emos skateboard a lot, dress in darker colors, and listen to alternative rock music. It's also true they probably think about feelings more than other people. I do get teased for being emo because some people at school think it's just about suicide and self-harm.
What about the people who think it's a vacuous trend?
Mm-hmm. But I think you would have to be depressed already to self-harm, and I'm not depressed. I like going out dressed in emo clothes because it causes a stir. There aren't many emos where I live, so people look at you.
I get depressed sometimes, then I put on Slayer, Sepultura, or Archgoat, and I feel warm and fuzzy.
See, I didn't, dress the way I did because it caused a stir. I dressed the way I did because I thought it looked cool, and I wanted to emulate the looks I saw. So, because I thought it looked cool. The fact that everyone started calling me a satanic baby killer because I started dressing that way, that was just a bonus.
That was icing on the cake.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing is like, yeah, there are times I'm like, life sucks, and then I go listen to Slayer, and oh, I have Nightle in my life.
It makes you feel individual. That sense of rebellion and nonconformity is something that 21-year-old Janina Taylor Wells can relate to. Now a student at Oxford Brookes University, she became an emo at 16.
Yes, you and yes, you're a nonconformist, you and all of you. Whereas me, I wasn't even bothered about. I mean, yeah, for a while I was like, I don't want to conform, which is why I'm listening to Sum 41. But eventually, it was like, you know what, just do your own thing, and that's the best way to nonconform is to do your own thing.
I was going through an unhappy period at school, she recalls. I grew up in a wealthy area of Chestnut in Hertfordshire, and I was surrounded by spoiled rich kids. Well, that's kind of like how Jeff grew up, and I
Welcome to
could see
everyone's.
why he decided to go out and do the shoplifting, because it's like, God, these people are shallow, vapid, useless sacks of shit. Let's do something fun. Hey, look, I just stole a fifth of whiskey from my parents, which was aged 100 years. That my grandfather brought it home from World War II. Dear God, that shit tasted so good. And then because we were only supposed to take like a shot each to taste it, but it was so good we drank the whole thing down to like just a easy like 2 shots in the bottom. And Joe was like, "Oh my God, my parents are gonna be pissed." So we cracked open the Old Crow and poured it in. And then Jeff said a couple months later they finally opened it for whatever anniversary they were waiting for, and like he just sat there in the corner waiting, knowing that something bad was going to happen because he remembered, oh fuck, I replaced that really good shit with the Old Crow. Everyone said cheers, took their sip, and had this look on their face like, what the fuck?
Did they ever finger your?
That was, I think they might have fingered Jeff, but Jeff never mentioned it.
That is, yeah, but most likely he faked his own. Just like, oh, I didn't do it. Jim did it.
But yeah, this is the shit you do whenever you're surrounded by spoiled rich kids. You desecrate shit.
Yeah, or you just go into your own little world and don't talk to anyone unless someone says, "Hey, I like your Marduk shirt." And I'm like, "How do you know about Marduk? You want to be friends now?"
I felt that being an emo gave me a defined individuality.
Pop emo. Yes, the individual pop star.
Yeah. Looking back, she acknowledges that the cult, as she calls it, was heavily linked to self-harm and depression. Many of her friends were actually taking prescription antidepressants.
Yes, everyone's taking the prescription antidepressants in this day and age because it's better than talking to your actual kids. Just dose them up with Ritalin. Why are they behaving bad in class? Could it be that they just don't care, they know the information, or they're just too stubborn? Who knows? Just dose them with Ritalin. Don't ask questions.
In hindsight, I can see that being involved with such a movement can be dangerous if you're a vulnerable personality.
No, you know what's dangerous? Okay, so, Bob, shit for brains. Okay, go on the roof, go through the skylight, and steal as much as you can. Okay. And then we drive away going, he's going to get fucking arrested.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't think anyone would have. He didn't get arrested, oddly enough. He actually did manage to steal, but we were like, he's going to get arrested. What a fucking idiot.
There's a very dark side to being an emo, which is about dressing in black and listening to music with very deep lyrics.
I'm outside of your window with my radio. That's a fucking lyric from an emo song.
Oh, God. Meanwhile, here, contemplate this giant construct that fucking people have built up over centuries.
Yes.
Sit here, look at how society pretty much just tries to turn out people to blindly agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could tip a vulnerable person over the edge.
Oh. Well, I mean, but if you're already vulnerable, anything can tip you over the edge. Was it the music, or did you just have a bad pork chop last night? And I had a bad pork chop. It's all over. Bam.
If there's a new way, I'll be the first in line. It better work this time.
Unfortunately, Dave was convinced there was a new way. He was the first in line of bad shit, crazy conspiracy theorists.
Uh-huh.
Do more drugs, Davey.
Yeah, do more drugs. Do it again.
Unfortunately, I think it's edging up on the 20th year of him being a Christian conspiracy weirdo.
In recent years, the growing reach of the internet and social networking has sites such as MySpace. Remember MySpace?
Mm-hmm.
I remember MySpace.
I remember.
I had so many fucked up things going on with my thing on there. It was unreal.
Yes, I remember MySpace. I remember the emo music as well.
Facebook and Bebo.
Who remembers Bebo anymore?
I didn't even know Bebo existed.
I had heard the name, but I didn't know what it was.
Has meant that the influences to which teenagers are exposed are not controlled by mere geography.
Unfortunately, well, yeah, good. As in, like, my Romanian friend, she was sending me like bands from her, not just the big bands from Romania, but obscure death and black metal bands. Here, you'll like this. I love, it's times like this that I'm like, I love Facebook.
Hell, I fed you Durketta. You like that shit?
Yeah, I'd heard the name every now. You also fed me Goat Lord. One other band. Oh, Death Yell.
Yeah.
And I fed you.
Too many. Don't
Chapter
even go
1.
Because you're like, oh yeah, because you're listening to all your friends all over. It's like, damn, this is better than the. And I just remember saying to myself, this is better than the tape trading days. I'm just gonna keep the blind kid here and throw him here and say, feed me music.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Yeah. He knows so many bands. I mean, he sucks at everything else, but.
All this can have a positive effect. Professor Stephen Briggs, a clinician at the adolescent department of Tavistock Clinic, says it can also adversely affect the way teenagers develop.
Well, yeah, Tide Pod Challenge.
With mobile phones, the internet, and Facebook, you can create a virtual world that means you never need to be alone.
That's not true. I like, because I sometimes just turn Facebook off and go on watch a race or listen to music or something, because being alone is good for the soul sometimes.
Most of the time, whenever I go out to eat, I just leave the damn phone in the car.
I don't even use my phone for. I use my phone for calling and answering.
Well, that's because you can't see.
Well, yes. Also, I'm old and curmudgeonly.
It means that you never have to be out of sight. I seldom post, so I'm out of sight. Even online. That way I just talk to the people I want to talk to and fuck it. And then when I think of something, it's like, oh yeah, is it wrong to turn the skull of a vampire into a bong, then you speak with dead spell on it?
No.
And the whole reason is the spell is only supposed to give you like 3 questions you can ask it, and the soul's supposed to answer it. But the first question I'm wording in such a way that like the guy's going to monologue every detail about how the 4 simultaneous days in one single earth rotation told him how to con this vampire to do exactly what he wanted. Even though in reality, like he's pretty much just listing all the things that backfired on us, but claiming it was part of the plan.
Yes. Oh, that sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. And that doesn't allow an adolescent to experience that sense of being a bit separate, of finding oneself. You see, that's one thing I do kind of agree with, but you're trying to twist that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because not everyone had an upbringing like me where I was on the internet, and yet I realized that when I was 15, 16, that I was not smart enough to socialize with people beyond my circle of friends. So I would just sit there at night alone and get like demos and things and listen to them. And yes, I did feel separate. I remember going to school the next day and just going like, you don't even know what I heard last night. Yeah, you can say that's a smug thing, but it was, life changing for me. It was like, you've never even heard of Terrorizer. Why am I talking to you?
It's like funny because whenever I, got into all the crazy shit I did in high school, and like some people were like still talking down to me, I'm just sitting there thinking, smiling in my head. You do realize that I was set on fire yesterday by my best friend, and I was stupid enough to run around instead of stop, dropping, and rolling because I was high as a fucking kite, and we were listening to like this awesome shit that like from the 80s that was like shit I'd never heard before, but it was so fucking awesome.
And they have no concept of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was like, you don't even know, so it made life easier to deal with.
Or I sit there and think, it's funny that you don't even know that I fucking just shoplifted an entire Super Nintendo.
And then of course,
the only reason I shoplifted it was because I wanted to play Final Fantasy 2/4. It's technically 4. It was called 2 back then, and I wanted to, but it was released on only a Super Nintendo at the time. However, I was protesting against Nintendo for censoring Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
So I got around that by making certain they didn't get a dime of my money by shoplifting a Super Nintendo.
That was awesome. And then of course people were like, well, you like that heavy stuff. Here's a band called Korn that I just discovered. It's like, yeah.
Oh, really? I'm listening to this now.
Yeah, and then you play Terrorizer, and you can literally hear the retreating footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are you listening to? Oh my god!
It means you don't have a chance to mature on your own, to know who you are. Yep.
Well, yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah, but that's with the internet, not like listening to.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That was all about the internet, not emo. So let's you're trying to connect the dots here.
Well, yeah, because what they're saying is emo spreads via the internet, and now people will be infested with the emo virus from the internet.
Yeah, I think DC's The Question would even have problems saying, what? You're connecting the dots this way? Yeah. I'm the conspiracy nut. I was surprised that there were 32 flavors.
The 32nd flavor is man.
Yeah. Just what directed Hannah Bond's behavior on that tragic September night last year will never be known.
Maybe it was, I have to be perfect. Maybe her dad was molesting her and her mother didn't know anything about it, or did know something about it and just decided to shut her eyes and close her ears.
At the inquest of people at the secondary school where Hannah was a pupil, admitted there had been problems with emos harming themselves.
I just love the kid killed himself, and it's because the Daily Mail is very anti-American and very anti-rock. So you have American, rock subgenre from America with self-harm. It's literally their wet dream. Somebody called this pig shit ignorant.
Yeah. Everett added that she thought it was probable that Hannah might have been influenced by another emo girl at the same school who had attempted suicide a year earlier. Follow your friends in death.
Like, wouldn't it be fun to, kill yourself? I'm going to try it. You should do it too.
Oh my God, that was so awesome. The way that she died and everyone cried at her funeral. I want that. I'll be famous finally.
And that's not the music. That's the Kardashian culture.
Yeah.
Like the last time we read about the Bride from Hell.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. This is the.
It just totally reminded me of reading Elliot Rodgers' manifesto through and through. It's like it's that far God on the fucking introspection skill. There is none. Zip. Zero. It's everyone else's fault. The world is conspiring against me. Screw everything else.
Yes, because
You're just a greedy bitch.
$1,500 isn't that much, people. Come on. I just wanna feel special.
For one day in my life, after I used the same exact argument to try to get a $5,000 baby carriage.
I was like, okay.
Which the kid is going to shit in and piss in. You're going to have to change diapers in it. And I doubt you're going to take the time and effort to clean it. I mean, the royal family's got people to clean that shit. You don't.
Okay, fine. If you want to feel special, I'll hire people to take everything you have and beat you within an inch of your life. Because, they're doing it to you. Feel special.
And you survived because
Yes.
it's within an inch of your life, not actually killing you. So you'll feel special that you actually survived, and maybe, just maybe, you'll appreciate the small things like breathing.
Yes, I get to breathe today.
According to a fellow student, she was a close friend of Hannah's and one of a large number of emo pupils. They're breeding.
Emo 2, the swarm.
Yeah. The amount of boys and girls who seem to be into it is incredible, the teacher told the Mail. I reckon there must be 15 to 20% of pupils who are emos. Yeah, it's a vapid trend. Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Then 2 years later, they'll be in the Gangnam Style or something.
Yeah. A boy in my class has recently got into it, and he's changed completely. Just like I went in one day to school dressed up like my parents dressed me because they did. And then right after Christmas break, I showed up in head to toe. I had painted leather jacket, Flaming Skull t-shirt, black jeans, biker boots. Hi. Oh my God, we pushed up too far. Run away, run away. He's the satanic baby killer now.
I didn't never killed any babies yet.
Here they're tasty though.
Oh God, he wants to eat my babies.
Mm-hmm.
For defend the whelping pen.
He used to be normal. Normal's boring. I used to be normal. Well, actually, no. I used to look normal, but I was always insane.
I used to act normal, and I had a lot of things hiding under the surface, and then I decided to let those things come out, and now look.
But now he harms himself. He's dyed his hair black, and he wears dark clothes and a really long black coat.
Dyeing your hair is too fucking hard.
Oh, I remember this. That sounds like the Columbine kids saying it's the self-harm.
Or
the
right?
trench coat mafia. Ooh, ooh,
But I actually read that there was an actual interview with someone from the trench coat mafia who was like, "Yeah, no, they weren't actually in the trench coat or Marilyn Manson fans. Actually, they liked KMFDM.
Yeah."
If I like KMFDM, I
got so much shit wrong on them, but they had to fucking glorify. Oh my God, like metal is evil. Fucking and Barrett Manson's not even metal; he's alt rock. Go fuck.
Marilyn Manson's evil, but as Jello Biafra once said, if they were such big Manson fans, why didn't they wait a couple days and go see his kick-ass live show in Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me, it was I know a woman who dresses, unless it's like really hot, in robes, sort of satanic priestess robes, all the time, because that's what she does. And she says going to like a grocery store is hilarious because people she'll innocently, because she's actually really nice. She'll innocently, do you know where and people over there, don't hurt me. Because they think she's, some sort of evil druid or something. Which, she is. She's just a little more subtle than that.
Oh, people also don't really take into account, you could worship dark things and just, say, fuck it, I'm going to be decent because there's no reason not to.
The only reason why she wears those robes is because, quote, they're badass.
Well, yeah, they are.
And she wears them everywhere, and I'm like, wait,
You
what about?
see, one of the things I wanted to do with Mottler, whenever I had that band idea, it was
Yes,
pretty much a Guar knockoff with
yes.
the way the style was. We were going to sell white robes to like the fucking, as you know, fan merch, to normal people. But for people that were in the fan club, they were going to have black robes. I was going to hire someone to just sit there and be there nodding off in the corner in the black robes, trying to draw the kids in. I'm waiting for the sign. I'm letting the music fill me so that way I may become one with the chaos. And then
Yes.
whenever I would say become one with the chaos, they'd all charge in and start moshing and shit.
Yes.
Because it was like it would be towards the end of the set just to see how fucking crazy we could get things at the end. Because in the back of my head, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you're there at a show. How many hours? If you're constantly bobbing, bashing, and everything, you get tired. By the time you get to the end of the set, whenever the band really wants to see and hear your admiration, you're beat. So why don't I have a reserve corps of hardcore fans come in and freshen things up right at the end?
Yes, while everyone else is gone. Oh, my spine.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So yes, that is a brilliant idea.
Uh He got loads of plasters up his arms and cuts and marks. I tried to ask him about them, but he ignored me. It
Good.
also emerged that in the months leading up to her death, Hannah had begun to use the internet more, secretly surfing the web on the family's laptop. You should have turned child safety off so that way she could find the porn and be like, oh, wow, I could take 6 cocks at once. That's a reason to live.
I
Or
usually
maybe, sit there and fantasize about eating vag. Who knows which way she would have swung.
or becoming a sex slave under someone's mind control.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you turn the child safety off once they start getting a little bit older and you've already had a few talks, then yeah, they're going to find the shit that they're going to like.
I mean, I secretly, well, not secretly, browse the internet all the time. Does that mean I want to kill myself? Granted, I've seen plenty of stuff that's like, oh God, I just want to die now because, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Her mother told the inquest about a month before Hannah's death, I noticed that she was addicted to the internet.
I'm
There was a
addicted.
definite change in her desire to be online.
I'm
I went,
addicted to stuff. Maybe I should call some stuff
yeah, I went
anonymous.
through a massive internet addiction back when I was in college. And that was because I discovered MUDs, multi-user dungeons, the forerunner of today's MMO.
Yes.
It was all text only. And my favorite was Looney Mud, where I got to run around, kill Kermit the Frog, RoboCop, Bart. I beat Bart Simpson to death with his own skateboard.
Yes.
And I charged off with Darth Vader's lightsaber and like annihilated Klinger from MASH, which somehow I always had a problem with it because, like I said, you took one step from Vietnam to Korea. I'm like, that's not how it is because they're cut. It's like saying you went from Maine to Florida in one step. No.
Yes.
They never addressed it while I was on there, but maybe they did whenever they did it over the years.
Probably.
Because at least just say you get sucked through time and space, because we're also separating two wars by a decade.
Yes.
Because you went from Forrest Gump to fucking MASH. No.
But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm, well, okay, maybe I'm addicted to the internet, but it's mostly text pages and music and racing and the like. I was just reminded of my friend who made a weird sort of not for public, but just his own little private RPG, where he turned Josie and the Pussycats into 50-foot tall cat mutants who would kill for him. And that was his. And I'm thinking you probably ruined some childhoods here.
On the night of her death, Hannah had spent the evening at a friend's house. Well, I did that when I was planning on, shooting up my school and blowing it up and killing myself. But then I got into metal and I backed out of my plans.
Yes, metal
That was
saves.
actually the night I got into metal. Was I went over to my friend's house? Hey Jim, listen to this. It was Megadeth, Sweating Bullets. I was like, oh my! And my little teenage mind was like, oh my god, someone's actually trying to figure out how the hell I feel.
Yes, metal saves.
Mm-hmm. It saved a lot of lives because you know how everyone talks about Columbine and that hollow past tense. They would have been talking about Jeanette in that hollow past sense after me.
They couldn't even fucking get the bomb. I mean, they got one bomb to partially detonate.
Oh, well, I actually paid attention in chemistry, so I knew a lot more. I paid attention to building maintenance. I knew where the structural weak points were. I paid attention in history, so I knew where the bomb shelter underneath the school was, the easiest way to access it. I knew how, from my building maintenance class, I also knew how to cause a backdraft in the gas pipes, so that way the natural gas would cause a backlock and pretty much turn the school into a bomb itself.
Yep.
Because all I needed was an air compressor from, the wood shop and that they had on school, and it would have worked.
Yep. But, those guys, I mean, they managed to blow up stuff like on their free time, but when it actually came to doing it, they
I mean, I didn't need to be taught by some shady guy on the corner. I read the fucking anarchist cookbook and I read it and laughed at, well, that's a blow yourself up method of making explosives. That doesn't work. That blows yourself up. Wow. I don't even know why someone would even think to try that. That what?
There was always a rumor that it was banned, and I remember one agent saying, I don't remember if this was real or not, but the story I heard was someone said, why would we ban it? Anyone who tries this shit's just gonna kill themselves anyway.
They had one actual legit method of making explosives, and it was the method where every single item on the list put you on a government watch list. That was the one that worked. It's like, they watched that, wow, all of them. How the hell can you get all of them on a government watch list in this recipe? What the fuck?
But yeah, that book, I love reading about how like teenagers, oh my god, I got the anarchist cookbook. Okay. Yeah. No.
An emo. He was also an emo and one who also cut himself, telling his mother, we're emos. We all do it. We're sheep. We all do it.
Yes, we're sheep. We're all, yes.
Hannah had wanted to sleep over and was upset at having to leave. Well, that's what causes suicide. There, you baby, go away from my friend's house. Fuck you.
I'm tired of being.
Whenever I have to be home, I'm tired of people telling me I gotta do this shit. Fuck
yeah. And then you shat your pants.
When they got home, Mrs. Bond told Hannah to go to bed, adding that they would discuss the matter in the morning.
But they never did.
The teenager turned to her and said, I feel like killing myself, as many teenagers do whenever you tell them to do something they don't want to do.
Yes.
Except this time she actually followed through because she probably got sick and tired of you telling her what to do.
Yes. So she did it.
I think, breaking down in tears, Mrs. Bond told the inquest, I think I said, don't be silly. We'll all talk about it in the morning.
How'd that work?
An hour later, Miss Bond went into her daughter's bedroom at the family home and found Hannah's lifeless body hanging from the metal railing off the top bunk.
You know, I'm not meant to exist in those situations because it's a tragic scene. But my first comment, if I saw that, would be, "Well, she wasn't lying," which is the most horrible thing you can say. I know, but it's just that'd be my first like. Well, she said she was serious.
Mm.
There's a special place in hell for me. I know.
Meanwhile, I had a chick that was asking me on like one of the fucking dating sites I was on if I would like fucking string her up in a noose and let her slowly strangle herself from the ceiling while I fucked her.
Okay.
It's like, okay, so I understand the asphyxiation thing, but do you want me to stop when it looks like you're about to expire or something?
Yes. Well, my question would be: so when does
That's
this
a bit
cross into
tricky
necrophilia?
because, like, if it kills you while I'm in the middle of it, they're gonna find my DNA all inside and say I murdered you. Whatever this was your fetish.
Plus, that counts as necrophilia.
Yeah.
So, do you want me? I mean, so when did this like start counting as necrophilia, though?
I don't know. Yeah, at what point did it cross over?
It stopped being, yeah.
You know, she died at 5:32. You nutted at 5:36. So that's a total of 4 minutes. It was necrophilia.
Yeah, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Uh, the coroner said she had become an aficionado of the emo fad and she was a user of the internet. Emo, internet, mix these two things together. Suicide.
Is it like a drug user? She was an internet user.
Oh, wait, we have a third piece of the puzzle, which enabled her to contact other emos all over the world, particularly in America. So, emo, internet plus America equals suicide.
Yes, makes sense to me.
But she was a very well liked girl who had many friends and was doing well in school. Well, maybe her parents always telling her to do shit pushed her.
Like I said, the more you try to mold someone into someone who's trying to do well in school, the more you're going to get something boiling beneath the surface.
Exactly. Fuck.
Just let them live their lives.
Yeah. Do their things. That occasional B or C will be fine.
The occasional D or F will also be fine.
Yeah, I could see some scolding over the F, but, whatever. You just don't buy me cigarettes for a week.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for me, an F, it's like.
And then I get pissed off. You're like, oh, you really want me to go fail my classes then? I need that so I can concentrate before my tests.
Do you
understand?
Well, for me, it's like, okay, do you understand the curriculum? Yes. Do you understand, do you understand the curriculum? Do you get why, okay, yeah, whatever then. Fuck your grades.
You might miss a few specifics and shit, fine. And you just look at your tests, see where you fucked up, learn from it.
Well, I mean, or no, I'm saying like me.
That's the way a brain works. That's the way an actual intelligent person works. Okay, I missed 3 questions here. How did I mess this up? Oh, God, I transposed those numbers. I got that date and place wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, for me, it was.
Wow, here's an actual cause and effect thing I should have been worried about that I didn't know. I should probably look into that.
For me, it was I sort of got failing grades because I was like, I don't know, I don't test well, but I understand the concept. So I just gave up and went, okay, fuck it, it's done. Now I can go back to reading the history book.
In her mother's words, she had everything to live for. If she's living the life her parents want, anyone's living the life their parents want is not living for anything. They are living a shallow existence, just attempting to appease. You're not giving them the chance to find their own joy at this point.
When you do that, they'll look for any sort of escape or any sort of thing to, and oftentimes it's, something like emo or new metal or something, but it's still, it's a way for people who don't think they have a way to think that they belong.
And then as you go further down the line, try to fucking push your kid more and more, living your life instead of letting them live their own, make their own mistakes. Guess what happens? You push them closer and closer to saying, I see no other way out of this.
Yes, or if they do see a way out, they become me. Which is worse, death or me?
The emo overtones concerning death and associating it with glamour I find very disturbing. It is not glamorous, just simply tragic loss of such a young life.
Well, that's why Dead, whenever he did Corpse Paint, he did like the snot out of the nose and things like that, because he thought that most like people like Ozzy and Kiss were trying to make death into something like, oh look, I'm a sexy corpse, and Dead went, no, here's what a corpse looks like.
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
He wanted to make it unsexy, not because he wanted to, but he's like, oh yes, you think that death is sexy. Well, here's what I think is sexy.
Dear God, it's like,
yes.
I was in a mental institution, and although everyone had a plethora of problems, there were people that during the group sessions that were suicidal, like myself, and I heard their reasons. Now, my thing was I was boo-hoo, I was picked on. Of course, my father was scum. I mean, he had his moments where he did good parenting, but most of the time he was just scum. And all the shit, and you listen to the other kids wanting to commit suicide that were there for that, and a couple common threads with them was the fact that several were there because parents kept pushing them to excel, and they did excel, but they weren't able to go out and be themselves except for brief stints when, oh wow, I could go out on a play date. And hang out with a friend with their parents who let me do more shit. Then my parents would take me right home so I could get back to studying.
Yep.
And like you're just so stressed at this point that I have to overperform. Yep. I need out. How do I get out? Oh, that shotgun looks nice. I could put that right in my mouth and pull the trigger.
There's two ways you can, you either pull the trigger, or before you pull the trigger, you discover metal and become a mutant and your parents give up on you. But some people don't want their parents to give up on them for some reason.
And then you had the one there that was there because kids were bullying them. And I could sympathize with that too at the time because I was bullied, and that's part of why I was there. So part of it was, but like I said, that seemed to be a little bit more rare than the parents pushing the kid, making the kid live the life the parent wanted. And it wasn't always just overperformance in school. It was also overperforming and being Mr. Popular, or overperforming, and it was always trying to push the kid to overperform in something. You got to get that Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, you got to get the Heisman Trophy. You got to get the Formula One ride. You got to get the, whatever. And people wonder why like pro athletes do drugs and things like that. It's like they're not allowed to live a youthful life. They want to squeaky clean, or they don't actually do anything. So then when they get money, it's like, hey, I have free time on my hand. Let's do all the things I wasn't able to do as a teenager.
The 200 friends and family who attended Hannah's funeral will no doubt echo that. But not
Jesus
everyone.
Christ, if I have 200 people at my funeral, I hope someone blows it up.
I'll probably have somewhere closer to 1,000.
No,
because there's a lot of people that I don't talk to anymore, but remember. Well, this is assuming if I were to die sometime soon while all these people are alive. There is the chance that I will outlive them all and then have no one show up because
I will make sure that no one shows up in your funeral and it's done in the forest. Or if people show up, they only show up to piss on your grave.
That's great. I would like that. I actually told a few people, dude, piss on my grave.
You just see like a line of people around the block.
It's like, why? Because. And that's the only reason I gave them. And there was no greater reason for me. I was just really high at the time. I was like, just piss on my grave.
Yeah, well, shit, I got people lined up around the block to piss on my grave already, and I'm only 24.
But not everyone seems to have learned the lesson. In a tribute set up at Hannah's school, one pupil left the following message: I hope you enjoy the Black Parade.
To which she replies, "No, it was a shitty album. It was the emo version of The Wall."
I actually like The Wall, but like I was
Oh
also
yeah, okay, emo version of The Wall.
yeah, that's hard to contemplate.
It's horrible. They try to be so bombastic.
Naive, misguided, or just plain stupid. I think it's teenager being teenager.
I love the faux Satanism in this, like the Black Parade and.
I'm just looking at this like you're not comprehending how kids work at all. I remember enough. I mean, I don't remember every thought process I had as a kid, but I remember enough that it's like, yeah, what?
Well, that's why I posted it. People were trying to turn into this serious discussion on suicide. I posted it because I thought it was hilarious because of all the things they got wrong. It wasn't meant to be a serious thing. It was actually meant to be, you know, Weekly World News wouldn't even be this bad.
But then that's always been the trouble with some teenagers. No, not some, all. All teenagers are naive, misguided, and just plain stupid.
But also some of the wildest.
And here's a secret. As you grow up to be an adult, even in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, you're still naive, misguided, and just plain stupid.
Yes, just look at my family. And also, some of the wildest people I knew, the teenagers, were the quote, good little Asian girls who were always, okay, because their parents wanted to fulfill every fucking stereotype known to man. So it was, okay, you have to be, this good, this good, this good, and finally they snap and went, let me hear some punk rock, or let me hear some metal, and.
God, metal saved the lives of people at my school because I just thought, yeah, I'm going to go to college and do this shit. And I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, told that if I do anything to get even 5 minutes worth of attention, I'd be expelled in all surrounding school districts and be told I was an at-risk student, meaning I'd never graduate high school. Me too stupid at the time to realize that I could still go to college on a GED.
Yes.
Because you're a fucking teenager. You're not really experienced with this shit. And I didn't have an internet to go talking to people about this shit back then. Where I'm certain I would have bumped into someone saying, dude, I just went to community college for 2 years on a GED and transferred out. Now I got a doctorate.
Really? You said, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, really? I could do that. Hey, Mom, I want to drop out of school so I could go to college earlier. My mom would have been like, okay. Because, my mom would have been like, okay, you're old enough to drop out and just get a fucking job and won't talk about you going to school then.
But you decided that you would kill the school.
Yeah, because I didn't realize I had other options out there.
Yep,
and
exactly.
To talk with people and shit. So, the internet was there. And the thing that talked me out of it was just listening to a song, Megadeth, Sweating Bullets. It was like, wow, they're actually trying to understand what it's like to be insane.
Yes.
I mean, I'd gotten out of a mental institution. I was gotten out of a partial program. I mean, I just recently stopped taking the meds, which is probably another reason why I thought about blowing up the school, because I wasn't adjusted to not being unmedicated.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, that saved a lot of people's lives, and they never even threw you up.
I didn't need the meds after I got in the metal, because I was able to say, you know what, I know I'm insane, and I'm fine with that. I just got to be able to fake being sane enough to get a job and go to school and shit.
Yep. And that's worked, sort of.
Yeah.
He's sane. Don't you trust him?
Yeah, and that's the danger of being emo.
Yes. So yeah, I just thought it was a hilarious story because it was basically you could replace emo with rap, hip hop, metal, punk, rock and roll, blues. You know.
All right, I just gotta go on to the next article now. So we've gone from emo. Let's do something that has a nice emotional attachment to people. They turned Spider-Man into a damned cop, and it sucks.
Right. This is literally all I know about Spider-Man is on some TV tropes pages, which is, by the way, people don't look at TV tropes. It will kill your days, months, years. Anyway, they were talking about various things about Spider-Man. So I know some stories, but I don't know anything about the actual.
Okay, so the new Spider-Man video game came out for PS4 last week, and I was eager to spend a chunk of my weekend playing it. Some things I immensely enjoy during my few hours of playtime: web swinging, jumping off buildings, web singing, whispering, "Whoa, that looks just like the real Empire State Building," and web swinging.
So I gather he swings from a web.
Yeah. One thing I definitely did not enjoy is how the game turns Spider-Man into a friggin' cop. He's a superhero best known for grabbing muggers and shit. And since he's one of those superhero types that does not kill, he has to deal with them somehow. Leaving them inside a web for the police to pick up? Yeah, that's pretty much been his MO since the Genesis.
I hated fucking. That's why I didn't like superheroes, because like, if you just killed them, they wouldn't return in the next movie. As a Batman, I'm not going to kill. It's like, well, there's your fucking problem.
And I'm not going to use a gun either. Oh, fuck you, Ted.
Yeah. Of course, in the early days, he did use a gun and did kill people.
Granted, I am only a few hours into the game, but so far the primary objective boils down to help the cops.
But you just said that was Spider-Man's MO.
Yeah. He goes around and fights crime. Even the lowliest, pickpocket, fucking a guy dealing crack on the street corner.
I also love that he's only a few hours into the game. Yeah, I was only a few hours into Fallout New Vegas. If you had told me everything else in the game, I would have said, the fuck?
And, like, once you find out everything else in the game, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you can't...
How bad did we fuck this up?
Very bad, Blindy.
Yeah, you destroyed that society. Good job.
But you let the cons go.
Not just any cops either, but the NYPD specifically.
Word.
Because the game takes in place in a true-to-life rendering of New York City, because that's where Spider-Man is from. That's where Peter Parker lives. And stumped to it. And keep in mind, I only got a cursory knowledge of this from a couple films, and my friends would feed me a couple comics here and there. But even from those little 3-cell comics they had in the back of the fucking entertainment page of the fucking newspaper, I garnered this much information. So how come you can't even grasp that much? You're supposed to be a fan. You were itching for the game.
Well, I also have to add that, he's only a few hours into the game. The game could suddenly change, and all of a sudden the cops become corrupted and
Yeah. It's dumb to expect video games to be responsible reflections of real life, but it is also impossible for me, at least, to not feel some ickiness about the game forcing me into cahoots with even a fictionalized version of the NYPD.
Oh my god. I know where this is fucking going.
An organization that routinely oppresses some of the most vulnerable residents of the city I live in.
Jesus.
Yep.
Well, yeah, why do you think I hated superheroes? Because it's like, wait, they're actually helping the cops. Well, fuck them then. Go villains.
I'm not grasping for as many straws as it may appear. You are
Yeah, you
grasping
are.
a lot.
I'm a superhero neophyte. Not even. I don't care. But yeah, wow, this is completely.
Spider-Man doesn't just help the cops by catching armed robbers and putting deranged supervillains in jail. He helps them maintain a high-tech citywide surveillance network.
Okay. Wait, when did Spider-Man become tech savvy? I always thought his whole thing was that he was a spider dude.
Actually, that's Peter Parker. He was going to school for engineering and
Oh,
other crazy. He's a super genius. So,
see, Jim knows, and he said he doesn't even know that much, but he knows so much more than I do because I know he was bitten by a radioactive spider and then shot webs out his ass.
I mean, fucking when it comes to genius, Peter Parker's kind of on par with fucking Tony Stark, Iron Man, in that universe of how smart he is. And Tony Stark's supposed to be the smartest of the smart, and also an alcoholic and drug addict. But hey.
Yeah, like alcoholics and drug addicts.
Oh my god, he just shit in the Iron Man armor again.
I don't know where Spider-Man spins his webs, but I like to think it's like at his ass, like. Oh, that was a big web.
Actually, going canonically, he has a web shooter that he fashioned himself out of technology because he can only climb walls, has spider sense and other things, but he doesn't have like actual spinners.
I like mine better.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
He has spinners out his ass.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna take a shit or a web. Oh, it was a shit.
One of the ongoing missions in the game is to have Spider-Man repair NYPD operated and Oscorp constructed surveillance camp towers. Oscorp's one of the villain corporations that stand atop various buildings throughout the city.
Well, yeah, if you can climb walls and shit, why wouldn't you hire a wall climber to
do this? Further, gameplay wise, it just looks like, this is a map checkpoint.
Yeah, well. But yeah, it makes sense. To me at least. Having no
I'm no fan of the surveillance state, but using that fact of life that there are cameras fucking everywhere now.
Yay, there are cameras watching me doing this show. Hi, cameras.
When these towers are repaired, they allow the NYPD to monitor all citizens within a certain radius of the tower, and for Spider-Man to get real-time updates on the happenings within the city via an uplink with the towers.
Okay,
so, yeah,
Jenny is masturbating again.
So pretty much, like I said, it's a fucking checkpoint. You have uncovered Novak. Would you like to fast travel to Good Springs?
Where Sonny's masturbating. You can watch it on camera.
This is a game mechanic that will be familiar to anyone who has played an open world RPG in the last decade. What the towers functionally do is reveal areas of the game map to players so that they can find additional missions and collectibles.
Yes.
So instead of having a magic beacon, they decided to reflect just an ounce of the real world. And maybe there's a later mission where you have to blow them up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm against the surveillance state, but using the reality of the world as a game mechanic kind of makes sense if you're trying to make it seem Spider-Man seem real. Have that disbelief.
I'm against the state, but also know there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just gonna get as loud as possible and, commit, flagrantly horrible acts in front of the cameras.
I'm gonna shit on some of them. Just let them get a good close up of my sphincter opening up as my diarrhea sprays about.
Oh God, do we have to watch that?
Yes.
Ah! You see, like, if people in the surveillance are like gouging out their eyes.
But it isn't strictly a game mechanic. It's also a narrative choice, and one that comes with some pretty obvious real-world parallels.
Jesus
They
Christ!
chose something that had a real-life parallel and used it as a game mechanic.
Welcome to realism.
I
Oh,
mean,
my head.
he just thought about things in the complete reverse fashion because he thought, wow, he thought the game creators were saying, wow, we should have surveillance. Whenever the game creators are like, what would be a good checkpoint system? We got these fucking cameras everywhere. Why not have Spider-Man click on them?
Yep. Let's see what else he has to complain about.
The NYPD buying cutting-edge equipment and software from a shady tech company owned by a billionaire with maniacal tendencies so that it can monitor and collect data on its citizens is a dystopian yet sensible video game plot point. I forget exactly which villain canonically the Oscorp guy is. I think maybe like one of the goblins or something.
I don't know.
But I know that there's a lot of terrorism that they like to do, and they also have mutated people and shit.
I'll just call him Budfuck Man.
It's also literally something that happened in the real New York City. Yes, that's why they used it as a mechanic. It's something that happened in New York City. Why not use this thing that exists in real life as a game mechanic so that way it seems more real as opposed to let's reinforce the surveillance state. They weren't thinking reinforcing.
I think Jim just had a stroke. He's gonna. Hey guys, welcome to the Swine Brothers Show.
Spider-Man deserves better than to be allied with such forces. A big part of the character's appeal is that he is just as much under the thumb of the city as the people he tries to help. Well, yeah, because he's technically viewed as a vigilante, and vigilantism is a crime.
So,
yeah, and you also got the guy at his newspaper constantly saying he's a criminal for other reasons that, Spider-Man did the bank robbery, not the supervillain he busted.
The way I see it is also it takes a thief to catch a thief. Well, we got to control this vigilante. Let's put him to work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that I don't know if that's the game mindset, but I'm just saying if I was writing the game and someone said, okay, Spider-Man's going to work for, and like I said, he's only a couple hours into it, it could all drastically change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he's from a shattered family. He works multiple jobs. He can't pay his bills. He's stressed out all the time. You're also forgetting that he's a fucking college student.
Yes. Or, yeah.
So he's got to work a part-time job on top of going to classes, on top of fucking saving the world.
Or, yes.
And he still has to maintain some semblance of a social life so that people don't suspect he is Spider-Man.
Yes, because whenever I cut off all my social contacts, they think I'm a superhero.
I haven't seen Peter Parker mentioned once in this article yet.
No, he's just Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy could not even be a fan. I don't know.
He's not a hero who swoops down on high in order to save the commoners from themselves. He is a commoner.
Well, yeah. So he took a job as a fucking
pizza delivery boy or whatever. They decided to throw him as because it's usually the low end shit because he's a fucking college student. I think there was one I read where he actually got an internship somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and he hasn't even he hasn't even played the entire game, and he's already complaining.
Mm-hmm. Therein rests everything that is inspiring about the character. He's just a guy who wants to make life better for the people who are dealing with the same struggles he is.
This could also be more for kids. You know, they dumb down the games for kids where Spider-Man's the good guy with the police or whatever. Batman's the good guy with the police, and then they make the adult where he's a really bad film noir parody called The Dark Knight, which I fucking laughed at. I mean, I'm not saying Batman can't be like dark and things, but calling him the Dark Knight was just asking to be laughed at.
What this new game does is put Spider-Man up on a perch where he doesn't belong.
I will actually look up the plot of whatever this game is to see if it changes. Not now. I'm just.
He's no longer performing heroic deeds out of the goodness of his heart, but also for the purpose of solidifying the existing power structure's grip on the city.
Well, you've also only played hours. Could it be that it's actually his evil twin that you're playing? I know they've done evil twin things.
I love that line, but it's also for the purpose of solidifying the existing power structure's grip on the city. Like you can't escape your own little bubble and see that Peter Parker has always assisted police and done all this shit whenever he donned the mask of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it's like you have to think of it in oppressor and oppressed, not fucking this is a superhero that doesn't kill people, so of course he's going to help the police.
Yes, but he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Again, this is how the first few hours of the game works, and maybe there is a forthcoming plot twist in which Spider-Man realizes that he no longer wants to be an agent of the state. Well, there have been times where he did say that like the law was bullshit.
I'm just waiting. So okay, it's a few hours of the game. That would be like, Jim, you give me an album. I listen to 5 seconds worth, or even a single song. No, that album shit. But all you heard was the intro. No, I don't want to listen to it. It's shit. I'm gonna write a full review about how shit the album is just because of the intro. This guy has played a few hours of the game, and rather than going, well, okay, it's not that good so far, but maybe it'll be good or whatever, he's decided to write I don't know if this is a blog or a Facebook.
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but I think it was a comic my one friend fed me while I was stoned off my ass. But there was a plot thread where Spider-Man had to capture a corrupt cop. But he couldn't use his normal let's beat him up, web him up kind of strategy because it's a fucking cop.
Yeah.
So what he did was he set up his camera, his reporter camera, up to do automatic pictures like he does, just so he get all the cool pictures of Spider-Man, and he set it up to catch the cop in dubious activity, and then he turned that over to state evidence, and that's how he caught the cop.
Well, yeah, you can go undercover, but I'm just saying, so this guy...
I don't know, I forget if Peter Parker engaged the cop, but I know he had to set up the camera to take pictures.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this guy has played part of the game and has decided to rant about it. It's just it's retarded. It's I've listened to a song. I've watched a little bit of a TV show and the plot's not doing it, so I'm just gonna rant about it. It's like I want to see what develops before writing a full piece.
No, I was watching the Orville and the pilot. I was like, this is kind of broken tripe. I understand it's the pilot. And like the second episode was, but I was kind of like, okay, I'll give it another shot. And the second episode was a bit more interesting. But it was the third episode that I was like, holy shit, they turned this entire fucking gay/trans fucking argument on its head and said, well, what if it was from an alien species that made it mandatory?
Yeah, exactly. The first episode of Duckman, I was like, okay, this is okay, but it's just not, it's whatever. And then the second episode was like, oh yeah, that's a little bit better. And then the third episode, and then all of a sudden I'm on season 4, and it's the day has gone by, and I'm like, well, so yeah, but
I mean, like with the Orville, as they started to tone down, from like, let's make it a joke a minute to, let's actually use humor as a vessel to progress the plot along with other plot threads and see what the hell we get. and it just started to work after episode 3, and 4 was good. Fucking, and it just kept getting better and better as people found their groove. They learned how much humor to put in, how much seriousness to put in, how much sci-fi to put in.
But it would be like if you watched the first episode and then wrote an entire thing about how it ruined sci-fi.
I wouldn't say it ruined sci-fi. I would say it was a bore fest.
I mean, yeah, I've written Facebook statuses like, "Oh, not really enjoying. Oh, it's gotten better," but this is an actual full blog post.
I mean, fuck. I mean, there have been many anime I watched, like where the first couple episodes were like complete garbage, but I always said there's the 4-episode rule. I gotta watch 4 episodes of it because I realize that the first couple episodes they'll fuck up a bunch of shit. Then by the time they hit like the 4th episode or so, you finally get a feel of whether this sucks or this is like going to be like some really cool ride.
For me, it's a 5-episode rule, but yes, your point does pertain. But yeah, exactly. Once they hit their stride, and but yeah, the first couple of, I mean, they're feeling each other out. The actors and the script writers are always, what can we get away with? What can we do? And then, 4, 5, 6 episodes in, it's like, oh.
All I know is that it kind of sucks to play a game in which Spider-Man, in the process of beating up some drug dealers, taunts them by yelling, "If you just got real jobs, you wouldn't have to work so hard at being criminals."
Oh, God.
Well, I have to say, being a former criminal myself, yeah, that was a lot more work for a lot less pay than what I'm getting just making tacos at a fucking gas station.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, certainly if I were to up the risk, which would have upped the amount of work and upped the chance of me going to prison, I could have made some real money selling drugs.
Yeah, but think about how hard those
now, but at the same time, I'm making pretty much the same. No, I'm actually making a little bit more making tacos at a gas station than I did off of drug sale profits, and I worked a hell of a lot harder to sell drugs.
Well, yeah, and think about how hard those like Colombian drug dealers have to work to, make sure they're not, fucked.
I mean, hell, just sit there and think, how simple it is to make tacos at a gas station where I look at a screen that tells me the ingredients in order of how they're supposed to go on there and just plop them on in that order and the portions suggested.
Yes. And yet people still fuck that up.
Oh, yeah. Especially when they come to work stoned.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's all I got time for because I got to go to work.
Speaking of work, all right, this has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode 160 for September 14th, 2018. You can contact us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. If you have any stories to submit, you can also submit it to us as well. We'll laugh at your idiocy. Facebook is Swine Brothers and Twitter is SwineBro666. For the gym, I've been Ellie Lindemoot. We'll see you later.
Eddie's in the field.